I appreciate Pastor Nate because Pastor Nate's always been there for me, always pouring into me, always there to talk with me whenever I needed to talk with him and just share some scripture and just a big influence on my Christian life. Thank you, Pastor Nate.
I appreciate Pastor Nate because he's always talking to me. He's always being nice, always asking about stuff, finding anything to talk about. He can relate about anything, sports, school, church. I appreciate that, and that's why he's the best.
I appreciate Pastor Nate because when I first moved in here, he took me in and really cared for me and made me find my love for God again.
I appreciate Pastor Nate because how passionate he is in his job. And during Passion Camp, he was a really good touch to that trip, really moved me closer to God. And he was there for the moment I was saved. So I love you, Pastor Nate.
I appreciate Pastor Nate because he cares about us and would do anything for us.
My favorite thing about Pastor Nate is that he tries to have relationships with everybody, whether it's just like saying hi or actually having a conversation every day.
I appreciate that Pastor Nate meets students where they are but doesn't leave them there.
What do I appreciate most about Nate? He always appreciates me. He always goes out of his way to see if there's anything he can do for us. If there's somebody sitting by themselves, he always goes up to them and strikes a conversation. He knows everybody's name by heart. I don't know how he does it because there's a lot of kids here. But on top of that, he's just very personal and always looks out for us.
I think something I appreciate most about Pastor Nate is that he just genuinely cares for the students so individually and personally, and he pours into each one of us.
The thing I appreciate most about Pastor Nate is that how every day I walk in the door, he always asks how I'm doing or how I'm doing in sports and how my family's doing.
The thing I appreciate most about Pastor Nate is I don't really go here, but I come here after sports sometimes as a guest, and even like my first time here, he's so welcoming. And I feel like it makes you so comfortable instantly because he's like the first person to come up to you and introduce himself, and he's just so kind.
I think I appreciate most that he's just a really caring person. Like no matter what I was going through, like over the past like several years I've been going here, like he's just always been there with like constant support and like love for all of us.
When he speaks and like preaches, he always he always finds a way to like get to everybody and to like understand what he's saying to everybody. He just speaks to everybody's story without like knowing everybody's story.
Probably just his fun and caring personality.
I appreciate his fun, loving and caring personality, and just that he loves on everybody and cares about them, and yeah.
Pastor Nate's biggest pet peeve is the Michigan Wolverines.
I think Pastor Nate's biggest pet peeve is when people don't call them the Ohio State.
I think Pastor Nate's biggest pet peeve is Saturday mornings.
I think Pastor Nate's biggest pet peeve is no matter how many good players Ohio State has on their team, they'll always lose big games.
I think his biggest pet peeve is when the kids don't listen.
I think Pastor Nate's biggest pet peeve is just whenever kids are talking during the message and he repeatedly has to get on to them about it.
I think Pastor Nate's biggest pet peeve is trash left everywhere after service.
Pastor Nate's biggest pet peeve is definitely when I'm driving in front of him in the Chick-fil-A line.
Oh my gosh, bad drivers.
People talking while he's teaching.
I'm gonna say people chewing with their mouth open.
Talking while he's talking, definitely.
When people talk when he's speaking, that is
Definitely the trash.
Definitely when people are on their phones in the service.
I think if Pastor Nate was an animal, he'd be a hippo.
If Pastor Nate was an animal, he'd be a lion because he's that guy.
If Pastor Nate was an animal, I think he'd be a duck.
If Pastor Nate was an animal, he would be a bear.
I personally think that Pastor Nate would be a golden retriever.
If Pastor Nate was an animal, he'd be a golden retriever.
If Pastor Nate was an animal, what would he be? I think he'd probably be a beaver.
I don't know. I feel like this could be offensive if I answer it wrong. An iguana or something?
Tiger?
Maybe a hamster.
I think Pastor Nate would probably be a sweet brown bear from Goldilocks. I love him.
A lion. I don't know why.
Probably like a tiger.
I feel like he'd be like, I don't know, it just came to mind, like a little monkey. I don't know.